Hi, this is Joyce Polino-Crane. I'm the news director at WestfordCAT. I'm here today with a special guest, Serena Beri. Welcome, Serena.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Serena, you are here because you're very involved in the STEM program, science, technology, engineering, and math. And you're on a mission to recruit more girls because there aren't a lot of girls involved in STEM. So tell us a little bit about your plan. But first, let's also put you in context. You are a sophomore at the University of Connecticut.
Yes, I am a sophomore at UConn and I'm a biological sciences major.
And so you came back to Westford today, which is July 3rd, just to be able to record this show, and you're hoping to launch your own show here at WestfordCAT, is that right?
Yes, if I could, I would love to make a 10-part series for girls in STEM, by girls in STEM, encouraging them to join the STEM field.
Well, you can and you will, and that sounds like a really great program. So I hope to see what you do with that. Mm-hmm. So let's talk a little bit about how you got involved in STEM, and I see you're wearing your StormGears shirt. You want to explain what that is?
Yes, so StormGears is actually my high school robotics team, and it is the robotics team that competes here in the surrounding areas of the Middlesex community, which includes Westford, Acton, Lexington, and it's not tied to WA. It's a part of all the communities around Westford.
WA meaning Westford Academy?
Yes. Uh-huh. And I first got involved in the robotics team by my mom, who actually pushed me and dragged me to join. And when I first started, I did not like it at all. I didn't know anything about machining or programming or any electrical work, and I felt really unconfident. And this changed when I decided to take up a leadership position on the team. And the reason why I decided to do this was because I thought that the only way that I could gain confidence was to, take up this leadership position. So I became the safety captain for the StormGears team along with another co-captain. And I really enjoyed the safety aspect because I want to go into the healthcare in the future, and safety and healthcare are interrelated. So with the help of the other safety co-captain, we created some new safety initiatives and protocols, and we were able to rebrand our safety team on the StormGears team. And
what do you mean rebrand your safety team?
Well, our safety team didn't really have many initiatives or new protocols. So along with the other safety co-captain, we created some new drills like fire evacuations and cleaning protocols and injury reporting, which we were able to enact to our whole team. And because of this, we actually won 2 safety awards that year, which was amazing.
From who?
From the first organization.
Is that Dean Kamen's
Yes,
company?
It is his mission to encourage kids to join robotics.
Yes, as I have mentioned, I've seen him speak, and he is inspiring. Mm-hmm. Really very interesting man. So, all right, well, and so is robotics, do you think why is it that girls don't join naturally? Like, mm-hmm. Why do we have to recruit girls?
I think it comes from an inner feeling of fear or lack of confidence because there aren't many girls in STEM, and therefore there's less girls to encourage more girls to stay and sustain their level of interest in the field. This is a huge issue in the STEM field today because if girls aren't there at the forefront of STEM, then they don't have their input in what's happening in the future.
Why does that matter?
It matters because only 50% of the population is female, yet only 28% of the STEM field is made up by women. And this means that a large population is missing their input in STEM, which is the future because of the cutting edge innovations and research and automation that's coming through the STEM field.
So I'm going to be left behind, for sure.
You can always learn.
So let's talk a little bit about the actual process of building the robot. What is that all about?
So on our robotics team, we have 3 sub-teams: mechanical, engineering, and programming, and those sub-teams work interrelated to create this robot. And we have a 5-week period during build season where we make these life-size robots, and every year we make a new robot.
Okay, and so when you're making the robot, are there specific rules that you have to follow? And is there like a goal for what the robot is supposed to be able to do?
So every year there's a new competition. So a couple years ago it was to build these towers, usually involves some sort of shooting mechanism, and this is what our robot has to do. And there's also different regulations for the size of the robot and what materials we can be using.
Well, that's very interesting. How would what's the biggest thing you learned?
I learned a lot through robotics, through programming in MATLAB, computer-aided design through SolidWorks, and creating 3D prototypes. Most importantly, I learned a new way of thinking, outside of the box, and a way that I could bring ideas from my brain to actual life. But I think the biggest thing I learned was the importance of helping those who are underrepresented and underprivileged. The underrepresented would be, girls who are so underrepresented in the STEM fields, and also underprivileged kids in countries like India, Rwanda, Kenya, where our robotics team has actually outreach to them. And I have gone to India and spoken at 3 different schools and conducted robotics workshops with kids. And
what was the outcome of that?
It was so rewarding because I could see, the excitement and joy on kids' faces as they were learning something new, having fun, and developing a passion for STEM.
So did they create teams?
Yes,
in India?
We actually do sponsor some teams in India, and we send them supplies.
Just wondering if there was any direct reaction to your being there. Did any of the 3 schools that you spoke at, did they already have the robotics program, or did they put one in after you left? Or
I think the interest of robotics really sparked after we came and visited them, and we did give them supplies, and I think a robotics team did start up after that.
So when you say spark, you gave them supplies, and then you sort of inspired them. So what will you do here to get this rolling for girls?
Well, I really want to give back to the Middlesex community because they have helped me so much in involving me in robotics. And I would love to help girls here within these communities join, StormGears, which is a local robotics team. And StormGears is the high school level, but we also have 2 all-girls teams in middle school, Legolicious and Pajama Llamas. And they were actually 2 all-girls teams out of 300 competing teams in Massachusetts to go to Worlds. And
Worlds are what? A competition for anyone on the globe?
It's part of the first competition, so they're regional level, state levels, and then there's Worlds, which is, like the final competition.
That's amazing. That's fantastic. So these groups are based out of where, or does it not matter?
Like the different teams?
The winning, yeah.
They're
groups.
actually from Westford,
Okay.
so our high school team, StormGears, helps them and sponsors them.
Very nice. So the ages that you're trying to attract are middle school through high school?
As well as elementary school. So I think by helping girls get involved at a young age, they can help develop a passion of something that they may not have thought about a lot before.
So what have you learned from being involved in STEM?
I've learned, programming, how to create 3D prototypes, computer-aided design, and I've also learned valuable leadership and communication skills, which I'm able to use in college, and just this whole new way of thinking, basically.
So you went from being not wanting to be there at all to being in this extraordinary leadership position, and you're taking on this big project of trying to recruit girls into STEM. and I don't know how you're going to do that from a distance, but something tells me you will figure it out. So what's your goal in terms of numbers of girls? Is there a goal?
The goal is just to get as many as you can, really. The goal would be to create a 10-part series encouraging girls to join STEM. And for upcoming videos, I would love to have girls who are already in robotics coming and talking and sharing their stories and their passions, because I think this would really inspire more girls to communicate or to come to robotics, because they'll see that girls just like them are getting involved, and that you don't have to be a genius or you don't have to be exceptional at math. You just have to show up, learn as much as you can, and have fun.
That's wonderful. And I think you're right, absolutely, that's going to work that way. What would you give younger girls in terms of advice?
Don't be discouraged when you first start. When I first started, I was really unconfident. I didn't know much about robotics on a technical level, but I'd like to tell girls that, you don't need to know everything right away. You're still learning, and it's okay that you don't. You will eventually learn everything you need. Just show up and have fun.
I love that philosophy, because I think when you keep your mind totally open and don't have that tape playing in your head, I can't do this, I can't do this, that you will absorb what you need to absorb to learn it and to be able to do whatever it is you're desire to do. I remember in graduate school, I had to take statistics. It was a required course, and I just couldn't grasp it. I couldn't grasp the concept, and that tape was playing in my head. And then, my professor would sit down with me and try to help me. And when he offered a solution, it was so logical and so simple, and I was making more out of it than I needed to. So I hope that young women and young girls will, find a way to enjoy STEM or StormGears in Westford. So what about bringing it to the college level? Is there a program for students in the college level, or are you, once you're an engineering student in college, are you moving on to bigger and better things? How does that work?
So I'm actually part of the STEM Scholars at UConn, and there's also many clubs that have to do with STEM at college. So I am part of the First Alumni, which just is a collection of people who also did First and continue to enjoy the passion of it. At the college level, many people are, engineering majors, but you don't just have to be in engineering to be involved in STEM. There's so much to it. There's research, there's math, and I'm actually involved in research as I work in a neuroscience lab at UConn.
Very interesting. I don't know why, but I keep thinking of this invention you just mentioned to me a few minutes ago before the cameras were rolling. A new design for ultrasound. Can you just tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, so it would be like a spider-like device that would hold the transducer, which is the ultrasound probe, and it would pretty much just walk along the patient's body and tilt the transducer in different angles to take an echocardiogram of the heart. And that's something I actually filed a patent for. So
oh my goodness!
Still in the early stages, but hopefully it will lead somewhere.
What's the patent process?
So I came up with the idea because I job shadowed a cardiologist, and I noticed that it was really difficult to take an echocardiogram because there were certain angles that you had to obtain, and you had to sit really close to the patient. So I thought, maybe I could come up with something to make this easier. So I came up with this idea, and I sort of wrote a document explaining how I came up with the idea and what the idea was, as well as I CAD'd some images of it, and I actually created or 3D printed a prototype of it. And with the help of a lawyer, I was able to file a patent.
So what comes next after you file, do you know?
It's about, 7-ish years, I think, until you actually can claim the title of it being a real patent.
No kidding. 7 years. That's a lifetime. So have you already reached out to girls?
Yes, I think outreach is the best way to get girls involved because you're talking directly with them. I've done this locally where I have gone to the Massachusetts statewide fair at Regis College, and there I talk to girls and encourage them and show them about kind of, you know, the wonders of STEM and what it's like to be on a robotics team. I also volunteered with the help of my team at the Girls STEM event in UMass Lowell, which was led by another FRC team, Persevere.
When did that take place?
It took place last year, and it was a really fun event because all of the girls on StormGears decided to go together and participate. And we even came up with a fun game with our robot where when it would shoot the balls, we'd try to catch them. And we weren't really good at it, but some of the younger girls also participated, and they were much better than us.
Why is that?
I don't know.
Well, maybe we're evolving. Going back to my cheat sheet here, what's do you have an anecdote that you'd like to share with us that was somewhat funny?
I think the funniest thing was that STEM event because when we would try to catch the balls, we'd just end up dropping them, and then we'd have to go awkwardly pick them up. But it was really fun because it kind of became like a competition, and with the little girls, they were all so excited, and we kind of had the prize of StormGears bracelets, and we'd give them to the girls, and they were really excited about it.
That's nice. And what was your scariest moment?
So the scariest moment was when I was one of 10 members on the team to talk to the judges for the Engineering Inspiration Award, and I was the only girl. And it was my task to talk about sort of the safety initiatives that we had and how we had been outreaching to girls. And this was really, you know, nerve-wracking for me because these were two projects that I had worked a lot with, and I didn't want to make any mistakes. But the judges really loved our presentation, and we actually won the Engineering Inspiration Award that year.
My goodness, you do win a lot of awards.
Yes, our robotics team has only been around for 5 years, but we've went to Worlds every year so far.
That's pretty impressive. Let's see. Yeah, okay. So outside of robotics, how are you involved in STEM?
I think STEM is so much more than just robotics. It's a field of science, technology, engineering, and math. And one of the ways I'm involved in it outside of robotics is through research. And research is an amazing way to be involved in STEM because it deals with cutting-edge innovations that are happening right now. So through research, I have worked in neuroscience labs at Brandeis and UConn. And I was also the state president of the Massachusetts HOSA chapter, which is an organization for future healthcare professionals.
Oh, wonderful. What was that what was that like? What were your responsibilities for that?
I was tasked with creating the state leadership conference where I gave a speech at it, and I kind of had to help organize it a little bit.
That's very nice. So do you have a time frame for when you might launch your show, your new series?
As soon as possible, because the new season for robotics will be starting again after the summer ends, so it'd be really great to create the show during the summer to spread awareness and then hopefully encourage girls to join the robotics team.
Yes, definitely it would be. So is there anything that you want the Westford community to know?
I would first of all like to thank the Westford community for being so amazing and welcoming to me and helping me get involved in robotics. STEM is really an amazing career path and field. I'd also like the Westford community to know that robotics is an option for everyone and for every girl. It's inclusive and it's a fun way to maybe find a passion that you hadn't thought about before, and also have a say in the future of everything that's going to be all the new innovations that are coming through the STEM field.
Absolutely. Ladies out there, go get it. Well, we're going to wrap up. This has been really a pleasure speaking with you. Just one last question. Do you have an idea of who you would like to invite onto your show for the launching?
I would like to have the young girls from Robotics, from Legolicious, the Pajama Llamas, as well as the high school girls from our team, because actually this year they are leading the safety team and they won second runner-up at Worlds.
Wonderful.
And they also won New England Chairman's Award. I'd also like to have career professionals to be interviewed, because I think that they could give, some inspiration to girls, showing them that you can make it in this field.
Wonderful. That's fantastic. So are you going to interview the girls one at a time or bring them in a group? What's your thought?
I think a group would be the best way, because we could show that there are so many girls involved already and that you could be just like them.
Well, that's a good plan. So Serena brought a slideshow that she put together of the StormGears team and Robotics and places that you've gone to. So here it is. Let's give it a whirl. So thank you so much for coming today, Serena. I know you had to, change your schedule and reconsider things, and so thank you for coming all the way up from Connecticut.
Thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure. So for WestfordCAT News, this is Joyce Polino Crane saying, I'll see you around town.